Hello everybody, welcome back. Let's have a look at Bitcoin. We're just going to focus on Bitcoin on this video, and I'll make some more videos throughout the day, especially for Patreon. I'm going to make some videos for Patreon as well. So basically what we're looking at here is Bitcoin on the daily, and we've bounced at some point this morning from this area. All right, so we had two candle bodies here, 1, 2, and then a launch. Okay, so it's not saying that this is going to be reversal time. It's just an obvious place for it to bounce, because that's where it bounced from here, 1, 2. So everyone, I suppose, is looking at where can we possibly try to buy this back. All right, where is going to be the end for this? Is it going to continue to drop? Is it going to? Well, I mean, what's going to happen? All right. Some people are even talking about this like it's going to be the full-on reversal. You know, the demise of Bitcoin. It's going to come down and collapse. It's over with. It's finished. That's it. It's not. All right. It's just that's not the stage in the cycle. All right. The cycle is in full swing. And when you have a cycle in full swing, you're going to get nasty retracements. You're going to get nasty pullbacks, and especially when we all know that there is a degree of manipulation within cryptocurrency, and there's now large people, large institutions, even JP Morgan wanting to allocate 1% of their of people's portfolios to Bitcoin as a hedge. So there's plenty more money coming into this space from some of the biggest people out there. So in that respect, it would stand to reason that they would try in any way to bring the price down in order to get the best allocation possible. I'm not saying that that's what's happening, but I'm saying think about the big picture. All right, when you've got people like JP Morgan, Tesla, and everybody else buying into it at this stage, I mean, that is reality. They're going to want Bitcoin. There's only a finite amount. Exchanges also want to have enough Bitcoin of their own. They don't want to run out of Bitcoin. If an exchange runs out of Bitcoin, that is going to be tragic for that exchange. So everybody needs to maintain some of their Bitcoin, right? The main people buying these dips are most likely going to be these institutional players and the exchanges sucking it back up. They need it. Anyway, that aside, the chart alone suggests that we could still easily have some more downside to this one, but the RSI is particularly low on the daily here. On the last occasion that we came down this low, we peaked outside the comfort zone, getting down to these reads down here. And that corresponded to this one here and this one here on the green 50 exponential, which is ever so slightly just below where we've come down to test and where I would really expect to see a significant bounce from. So look, I mean, the consolidation came here. We broke down the center of the Bollinger Band here. We've broken down by the center of the Bollinger Band here. We came all the way down pretty aggressively over the last a couple of days later down to test this. Boing, it wasn't convincing enough. Boing on the 50. This was the little skinny purple one. I don't often use it, but it is always there. I don't put as much relevance to it, but it's always there for me to see. I like my movement averages to be big and strong, but that one is still there, a little skinny purple one, just for reference, and it worked on this occasion. So if that were to happen to the price that we're at right now, we'll be looking at a further 7.5% drop to the 50 exponential and a 9.65% drop to the 50 simple moving average, right? Not saying that that's going to happen. It could happen though, and if it did, that would be a perfect opportunity to go buy back and go long. For me, not for you. You guys do what you want. I'm not a financial advisor. I would never tell anyone to long an asset or short one or do anything. But that would be, for me, a reasonable area to do it from, because this is how we behaved in the past. Now this one appears more aggressive to the downside than this one. This was, I mean, it was pretty aggressive, but it roughly worked out at about the same amount, so that would be a 32% retracement. If this one were to come down to here, it would be a 30% retracement, so not even as aggressive. When I say it's aggressive, it's happening faster than the previous one, which is probably why people are getting a little bit more scared about it. Also, at the same time, while this was happening, this was a really nice redistribution of market cap into altcoins. This one, not so much. If you look at the Bitcoin dominance chart, it's actually slowly going up. So alts, a lot of them are getting wrecked as well as Bitcoin, and we're not having the redistribution. This is profit taking, and I suppose a bit of FUD actually, I'd say by now. A lot of people panicking, very fearful, and that's, I can understand that, you know, but I've been around long enough to recognize when to actually be afraid, and when to ride a wave, and when to plan another entry point. So this isn't a bubble pop incident. It's definitely not. And I would actually, I'm beginning to reconsider the bubble pop towards the end of this year given the fact that I'm watching the total supply, I mean the circulating supply, it gets sucked and hoovered up by as many people, whether they be retailers, investors, or exchanges. It may end up having an extended bull market. But in bull markets, you get miniature bear markets. I wouldn't really necessarily call this a bear market, and I wouldn't really call this a bear market either. A bear market should generally go on for a prolonged period of time, like the one that we saw in 2019, right? So we had a nice big rally up here. Oh, hey, this was big FOMO, by the way, massive big FOMO, huge FOMO. Actually, it completely melted my mind to see Bitcoin actually do this rally. It was extremely aggressive, and in my opinion, not really warranted. Didn't reflect the state of the market cycle at this period in time. This is the beginning of a new bull market, and people just got too overexcited, and as a result of that, we ended up having a pullback of, and I'll only measure it down to this low here, 54%. This to me didn't count. That's a black swan event, even though obviously it does count if you're playing this Bitcoin game, but it didn't really count. So a 54% retracement during a beginning of a bull market. I'm not saying that we're going to do that, but if we were to do a 54% retracement from the top to the bottom, we would be looking at, isn't that interesting? On the daily, we would be coming down to the 200 exponential. That's pretty interesting. That's where we would be right now. I'm not saying that that's where we're going. But just because something did 54% back then doesn't mean it's going to do 54% right now. Doesn't mean that. And to see a 54% retracement in Bitcoin in this stage of the market cycle, I mean, I wouldn't say it's impossible. If we go back in time to have a look at the last stage of the last market cycle, this is Bitcoin in 2017, we will see sizable moves such as that. So if we have a look at this area here, down to here, that's a 43% retracement between that wick to that wick, and this is at the end of the bull market cycle. You know what I mean? What happened after that? 43% retracement from that bottom wick all the way to the top here. Almost 600% move. Look at this one here. Look at this one here. This is a big one too. Might not be quite as big, but it's pretty big. We'll measure that one down. It's a 31% retracement. You get these all the time. This is Bitcoin in full swing, end of market cycle. This is the sort of thing that we will be expecting towards the end of this year, and even during those periods, you were getting pullbacks of 48, 30% regularly, absolutely regularly. But when in doubt, zoom out. And what is the problem with having pullbacks like this when your goal is up here? This is what I keep trying to explain to people on my Patreon. You know, the ones in the middle and top tiers. When what is your end goal? Are you looking to day trade this? If you are, then these are moments of opportunity, both long and short. Are you in it for the long game? And if you are, what's your target? Have you studied the market cycle? Do you believe in the market cycle, for one thing? Are you looking to hold it for a number of years? If so, then you should be buying it, dollar cost averaging it at every single opportunity, even right at the top here, because the end goal would suggest, because of the stock and flow ratio, it's just going to continue to go up over years. So if you hold it for 10 years, these areas will look like little sort of molehills amongst enormous charts. I mean, something like this will end up looking more like something like this, and then eventually even this will not even be recognized on the chart. That is how the stock and flow ratio suggests that Bitcoin's going to go. Doesn't mean it's going to do that. No one really knows, do they? But I mean, currently, yeah, I would lend myself to that style of thinking, that it will continue to go up indefinitely over years and years and years, and the only thing that would bring it down would be like a collapse in the network, which is not impossible, but it's highly unlikely, or regulation to the extent that it basically makes it not impossible, but extremely hard to buy and sell it. We're splitting hairs here at the moment. That's just speculation. There's no reason why any of that would happen. So going by the chart alone and the current sentiment, that I suppose I'm not concerned at all by this. And if we bounce from here, that would be great. If we bounce from here or here, that would be great. If we came all the way down to the 200 exponential, then yeah, that's fine. I'll bounce from there. The end goal is probably another 100% move minimum from this top here. This roughly about another 100% move top from there. So if you bought up here, yeah, just stick with it. All right, feel the pain. Take some time off. Recognize that I've got a position. It's not perfect. It's far from perfect, but it should end up working out in the end. People want your Bitcoin. All right, Michael Saylor wants it. Elon Musk wants it. Binance wants it. Many JP Morgan want your Bitcoin. All right, are you going to give it to them? This is supposed to be a wealth transfer, so don't transfer it to the people who have already got it. I would say. Now, like I say, I don't want to influence you into thinking in any particular way, and I wouldn't want anybody to, like I say, hold on for dear life and then get completely wrecked. Or so you have to make your own decisions how you want to play this. But personally, I feel as though people are getting a little bit too, scared about this whole situation. And there's really not a great deal to be scared of. If you've been around cryptocurrency for long enough, you would recognize these moves for what they are, which are basically, this is what Bitcoin does, right? It goes up 10 times in its value and then goes down, 50%. So what? Absolutely no problem at all. That's just fine. Same deal with the majority of alts. If your alts have got some form of utility, some use case, backed by big players, and a bright future, you should be perfectly fine. If you're buying, if you're FOMOing into the top of something that's already done a 10x, well then maybe you might be getting wrecked. It's all got to be looked at subjectively. So anyway, I'm just rambling all the time now anyway, but there's an enormous amount of institutional focus on Bitcoin right now, and it's only a matter of time before that circulating supply is all dried up, and at that point it will moon, and it will moon to the point where the moon boys will say, I told you I was right, and then those moon boys probably will be right. Until that happens, this is shakeout, trying to get the circulating supply into the hands of the people who can afford to buy it in large amounts. Obviously, it's up to us whether we do that, allow that to happen, or if we hold on to it, because we know that actually intrinsically, the way that things are going, it's probably better for us to have a little bit of it, even if it's just a tiny piece. Because the end game, the end result will be, pretty big. Anyway, that was a massive ramble. That's what you get on Sundays. Anyway, I'll leave it with you there. But thanks for watching. Hope you have a nice day. Take it easy.